Welcome to the Hermitcraft Recap. My name is Pixelriffs, our writer is LoyXP, and the head games are afoot. Wait, no, that's entirely not how anatomy works. It's hard to contain our excitement about the season's first server-wide minigame reaching its grand finale, especially when it features this much beheading. And on top of that, we have a special treat in that the Hermits followed it up by seemingly trying to literally blow up as much of the server as possible. So let's waste no time and take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week.
Thank you all for turning up. I'm really impressed about the crowd of people.
Starting with the head games, or at least with the build-up to them, in a very literal sense if we're talking about Zombie Cleo raising that desert coliseum. But before the battle horns go doot, we do get to find out what Operation Fire Lightning is. It turns out to be the last-ditch effort by Scar and Grian to secure their first place on the leaderboard, and a significantly macabre one at that. Realising that villager heads have a 100% drop rate, the two of them breed up as many villagers as their bread supply allows, let them reach adulthood, and then give them the chop.
We went to the dark side yesterday, by the way. We killed the younglings, God.
Not just the men, but the women. And the children!
Still, you can't bread your way out of a fight, and they have to attend the last battle of the Head Throne. And what a battle it was. Cleo splits the participants into two teams and prepares 4 boss battles for them to face: Stress Monster, Tango Tech, BOO, and Rendog, each armed with a personalised set of weapons from Sharpness 5 wooden swords to lava buckets and cobwebs. A Creeper and a Pillager patrol were a surprise, but a welcome one. Serving the last blow on a boss scores the Gladiator 1,000 points, which would not exactly guarantee a victory, but sure help bridge the gap to the winning place. And as per usual, the real winner all along was the audience. Just kidding, it was Zombie Cleo. Looking at the results in her decked out headroom, it's easy to realise that even with the consolation prizes of one free armour stand job for the participants, she got away with thousands of heads for not thousands of diamonds, even if she kind of lost her own head in the fray there. Now she gets to use that head to fill in the first issue of the Hermit and Herald, bought out entirely by the winner of the head games. Unfortunately, it fits much less text than the written books of seasons before, but a picture is worth 1,000 words, or at least a block of diamonds, since that's the cost of subscribing to the paper cartographically. By purchasing the map item, you can stay up to date with current events, and if you want to keep a particular issue, you just take a copy of the map and laminate it using a cartography table and a glass panel. Plus, the archive of back issues will be displayed in the new Hermit and Herald Office Cleo put together.
Like, this is crazy. Okay, and the best part about this is it's a map. Every week they update this, I don't gotta do nothing except look at my wall, because the news will just update automatically.
It's nice to see the server's passion for the written word growing. Zedaf, for one, also takes up book writing, though it really is just so he can use it to tell Redstone comparators what signal to display.
He was given 3 shoes, but he didn't want them 4. He had no feet.
The redstone in question is his sun imitation machine, built in his cave just to keep him updated on what time of day it is. Now, a clock or a window comes to mind, but it wouldn't be Zed if he did things the easy way. As a result, we get a set of redstone lamps going off one after another, following the sun throughout the day. Won't be needing one for the moon, with B-dubs on the server. Etho has a lot of reading to do when he logs in, but that's mostly because a certain someone has left a bunch of signs explaining why he's suddenly 10 diamonds richer and a few microblocks poorer.
I think he took some mob heads. Yeah, some of these guys. Okay, no big deal.
Later, he too takes advantage of lecterns to create a menu-based storage system for enchanted books, but in the intervening time, he gives the Googler a makeover, goes ham on Iskal's Treasure Island game under the impression that one of the boxes might contain a golden ticket, and rigs up a TNT Tree Farm for some easy spruce demolition.
Is that a problem? Let's find out. I think it was okay.
He's not the only one for whom logs and explosions go hand in hand. Rendog's log business is thriving, and he takes the first steps of putting together a TNT Tree Farm of his own design, which he demonstrated in its testing phases last week. But even the manually farmed oak logs have some explosive potential, as the latest delivery to Iskal's Mega Tree base brings down the big log's blimp and crashes it into the trunk. Ren immediately calls in the cleanup crew and puts up warning signs, and Iskal seems to have no problem paying for the logs themselves, so Ren decides to blow off some steam with a bit of recreational diamond spending.
Warning! Bigger Logs Incorporated crash cleanup in operation. Did you witness the crash? Call 0800 logs.
If that wasn't splody enough for you, look no further than BOO, who starts a demolition business by not only building a beautiful townhouse HQ in the shopping district, complete with a smoking crater on the second floor, but by staying up basically all night to make some incredible map art for the sign outside. With the branding in place, he recruits some personnel, turning to Tango and Impulse as both suppliers of the product and experts in wielding it. Together they form the Boomers, and they proceed to boom various things, including themselves, which explains why B-Dubs is looking a little scorched later when he returns to his Plains town to finish constructing the inn and stable.
Let's get more than a stack of terracotta this time, okay?
Oh,
it's happening!
it's happening! I'm dead!
It's fortunate they employ Tango to be the one building the TNT Yeeter's big brothers, seeing as how he's got quite some experience in throwing entities around. His Toontown gets a bit more animated when Tango throws together what can only be described as a Rube Goldberg anvil juggler. He's not as confident about block movement, however, and decides to outsource a piston door to Mambo now that there are honey blocks there for both of them to exploit.
Well, that is, I mean, yeah, you're right. If you had asked me to do this like 6-7 months ago or before honey blocks were introduced,
you
I
would
would have
like,
started crying. It
That's
just
the worst
sounded-
thing ever. Yeah.
Yeah. But now that honey blocks exist in the game and they don't stick to slime blocks, that's
Right.
well and truly possible.
When Impulse isn't flexing his shovels, he goes back to base work, setting up the undersea wall to support his pyramid and building in a second floor so he can lay out his master plan for Season 7. After combining a masterclass in randomizer technology and a light-up to-do list, he explains that he's going to try to farm everything farmable, but naturally he'll be waiting for 116 before doing anything expansive in the nether.
Whenever I start an episode, I feel like building a farm. I'm gonna press a button, and it's gonna tell me which farm we're gonna be doing.
False Symmetry, in the meantime, does her bombing herself. Well, rather, she makes flying TNT jeepers to do it for her, but the sentiment is still the same. With her cavalcade of carpet bombing contraptions, False reaches bedrock level of the perimeter she is using as her base. Then, from the bottom rises a circular structure resembling a certain well-known Disney character, but with more ears than should be allowed.
As myself and my stream have been calling it, it looks a little bit like a double Mickey Mouse sort of thing, right? So like that's Mickey Mouse's ears and then that's also Mickey Mouse's ears.
Not yet introduced to primed TNT farming, Hypno settles for a more classic way of collecting explosives. He builds a cat-powered creeper farm somewhere deep under his island. And since this involves quite a bit of digging, he too has to tolerate some explosions in a non-fight with a wither to secure a personal haste 2 distributor.
But yeah, this is a pretty easy fight, and there it is. So Wither Boss dead, Nether Star get, and we didn't take a single point of damage.
Well, he'll have to choose his AFK hours carefully. With Jevon online, the creeper mob cap might be spread a little too thin. Because this week, Jevon digs out 4 times the creeper farm, going right to the bedrock from the bottom of his sea base. It is an absolute beast of a machine, throwing more gunpowder than one can use or purchase, since the bulk of it is surely to go into Jevon's Commercial District TNT shop.
This thing is producing. This is about 2 hours of AFK time. And we have got quite a bit of gunpowder, plus I have probably 7 or 8 stacks upstairs.
Happy customers will have a chance to get their diamonds back though, as he's not running low on riches, but sure could use some resources sent his way. Thus, the Trader Jev's shop is born, something between a diamond shop and a fetch quest generator. Hermits are welcome to come in and swap the diamonds in chests for the resources on the labels. Wonder who could drop by with some sand, I say as Loy puts Cubfan's footage on the screen. Yes, Cubfan got to have quite a few gravity blocks laying around, but not within the perimeter of his pyramid. The foundation of the structure is flattened and ready for building, and the sooner he has a roof over his head the better, since we suspect the heat might be making him drowsy.
What if I just put a mini golf in here after all this work? Or conversely, what if like when the actual Great Pyramid, what if after all that study, all that time, they get into the hidden room, they unwind the twine holding the doors closed, open it up, and they see a mini golf inside.
Well, 1/4 of that roof is in, and it barely fits into the render distance. Good thing stone cutters don't wear down from overuse, that is an alarming number of stairs. The rest of the terraforming is left to the aforementioned boomers, who are more than happy to jump in and maybe snatch some A-grade sand while they're flattening the dunes. We finally get to take a break from the explosion noises and the smell of gunpowder to talk about Stress Monster, who's finally ready to put her farms from last week into use for a potion shop at the Commercial District. Setting up a picturesque willow tree on a convenient peninsula, Stress decides to do some market research before stocking up on potions, and drops off a book at everyone else's bases asking what their potion priorities are, with the additional promise of a randomly generated reward for their time and effort.
Let's go, book and quill, and let's see. Gorgeous hermits. Yeah, I'm not that bad looking, I guess.
Back in the jungle, she gives us a look inside her head in a very literal sense, as she's now planning the brain area of her skull base and wants to fill it with stuff she enjoys. There's a terraforming patch currently inhabited by a bumblebee and a villager resident in another quadrant. She's also looking for community feedback, so there's your opportunity to head over to her video and tell her what you think she thinks.
All of you gorgeous lot out there, what do you think I should have in my brain?
While Stress is literally giving away diamonds, Corrales and Azuma find their plans are not as concrete as they anticipated. The Impulse Tango competition have already established a store, even if some of their colours are still on backorder. The B duo decide to take the opposite route and ensure supply first and foremost, although Azuma does develop a prototype for the storefront in a creative copy of the server. The excess stock rapidly disappears into Corrales' base as the black concrete is used up for the spreading roads, and the more colourful ones on the shipping containers shoring up on the enormous docks, theoretically pulled around on the make-believe cranes.
I'm in love with this. Even though it's the most pointless project you've ever gonna see this season of Hermitcraft, but it's my pointless.
His business partner is also dipping into the supply to help with his personal projects. His base grows, fueled amongst other things by the concepts put together by fans. Unfortunately, the bee fuel might be running low, since his honey machine breaks every time it runs out of bottles. And I want empty bottles is not the first reason for building a witch farm that comes to mind, but it sure is an interesting one.
And if you're wondering why I didn't show you me building all of this last part here with the redstone in the time-lapse, well, it's because I logged in with my camera account, but I didn't have the replay mod on.
XBCrafted also tangles with the occult this week, setting up a witch farm of his own to supplement his redstone shop supplies. He's already got an automated redstone ore fortuning station which doubles as a concrete converter, but some extra glowstone for redstone lamps will be useful too, and it's not like the witches are using it anyway. The village of Casa gets a new transport network and a few fresh houses courtesy of his build contest, and after showcasing each build, he put a poll on Twitter so the community could decide who to award the Diamond Block Prize.
And then it's all up to you guys. Obviously, I'm not going to say who built what. I know who built what, but I'm not going to tell you until the reveal of the winner.
Speaking of diamond blocks, Doc M has decided enough is enough, and if Azuma can move the community diamond pile, Doc can move it back. On top of an elegant quartz pillar which conceals a motion-sensing beacon no less. The shopping district is getting classier by the second. And his home defense system is getting even more intricate. Try to surprise Doc if you can, but just because you don't see the iron golems doesn't mean they aren't there.
Freaking awesome. Oh man, this is glorious.
The one surprise Doc isn't expecting is Vintage Beef announcing he might have found Doc's missing and beloved dolphin, although it's a case of mistaken identity, and the goat father is not pleased.
Tucker?
But yeah, Tucker! Isn't that your dolphin, Tucker?
You think you can flim-flam the goat father? You will regret this. Yes, you will.
No regret.
The offer did seem a little fishy, but it remains to be seen if Beef did it on purpose. At least he can keep a lookout for any other passing dolphins thanks to the lighthouse he builds on the shore. The beach town also gets some market vendors selling a variety of holiday knickknacks and a boat for fishing tours off the coast.
All I really want is the fishing line to like drape inside the boat as if it's prepared to go fishing afterwards, but I got a little bit of finagling to do here.
Meanwhile, across the ocean, Beef's llama shop is doing a brisk trade in the fuzzy creatures, so he creates a backdoor to a breeding area inside for easy reloading.
Matilda! This is amazing! Don't look away from me. This is a moment. We're sharing a there you go.
Iskall is making history when... Oh, sorry, let me read that again. Iskall is making his tree when Mambo falls out of the sky and goes kersplat just a few blocks away. And I think we all know what that means. Hermit Challenges. Having been challenged to improve the Hermit Challenges area, Iskall redstones up a column of lamps which will light up when a certain number of challenges have been completed. It turns out Mambo just meant to tidy up the leaves a little, but he's pretty happy with the result anyway.
I really do think that this is looking absolutely mega.
This looks insane, dude.
Finally free to return to his in-between bases base, Iskall comes up with a new way of labeling his storage system, using the micro-blocks traded from the Wandering Trader. Except traders don't rain down from the sky the way Mambo does, so he takes to exploring other Hermit's bases and making quick trades for the blocks he can find, even setting up a shopping district plot where they can drop off any unique micro-blocks for 1 diamond apiece. On the flip side, Mambo's challenge from Iskall is to get gooder, which leads to him confronting the fact that he's outgrown his hobbit hole. Carving into the ground below his mega base, he starts his own in-between bases base, fills it with storage solutions, and delivers himself to Grian in a minecart to announce he's no longer a hobbit.
I don't think I can be a hobbit anymore. You're going to be the only hobbit.
I'm moving to my mansion, and I gave up being a hobbit a long time ago.
So I've been the only hobbit?
You can tell we have the old Mambo back because his next project is to create a redstone version of a Reddit experiment called the Button, which the Hermits can't touch yet, but once it's active, they should only press it when they absolutely have to.
Once you see it as a Cyclops, okay, you then can't unsee it as being a Cyclops. That's the one thing that I've found with it. But outside of that, it's a wicked looking build.
As for Grian's own base, it is far from being habitable unless he can somehow live in a wall. It is of course a very nice wall, and with an industrial amount of cyan, not really terracotta, it is now resting on yet to be detailed cubes and a lengthy stairway down to the local terrain. Needless to say, all of it is very intriguing.
But check it out, there's no details on this yet, but it gives a really nice perception of depth to this build, and I'm really happy with how this has come out.
And finally, there's good times with Scar and his own mega build project, just as ambitious, but a very different kind of detail. His jungle village starts coming alive with the introduction of the first residents, Ocelot, Panda, and Dragon villagers, all clearly brain or at least head washed to forget the Head Games massacre of 2020. In an interesting twist, the decorative farms some of them end up locked in will actually function like an automated crop farm, as they're actually a prettier variation of a logical Geek Boy design. Lastly, Scar builds a bendy wizard tower overlooking the valley to make sure they all keep in line and they aren't eaten too much. And that's about it for this week's recap. Our writer is LoyXP, and my name is Pixelriffs. I built a mountain range in Survival Minecraft recently, and I'm actually pretty proud of it. So check it out in the end screen theatre. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here, and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching.